Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to It Takes Two, the podcast where two people take two movies with the same plot or premise and watch and discuss them.
In this episode, we are covering 1991's Doc Hollywood and 2006 Cars.
I want to start this episode by saying I think that these are the two movies that are the most alike that we have ever done on the podcast.
There is, in fact, a paragraph on the article about Doc Hollywood on Wikipedia that is the controversy because this movie is a blatant ripoff. Cars is a blatant ripoff of Doc Hollywood.
I feel, because obviously I've seen both these movies before. I love Doc Hollywood, and I have joked about it being the same as Cars, but watching them back to back, it felt the same as when we did our Avatar episode. Like, I have the same feelings about Cars as a movie as I do about Avatar, which is that the creators of that film had, like, a really distinct idea in their head of what they wanted a film to look like. They had an idea of what the world they wanted to explore was, and then they forgot to write a script. And they went, shit, find a 90s movies, just find some movie from the 90s with a plot that takes place in a similar location, and we'll just use that plot in our movie. That's what Avatar did, 100%. And that is what Cars did. They wanted to make a movie about cars. They wanted to explore the history of Route 66 and the, like, small American towns that, you know, existed off that road that have been bypassed by interstates and what happened to them. And they went, oh God, just find a movie that takes place in a small American town off an interstate. And they were like, well, there's this one with Michael J. Fox. They're like, no one's seen that. Let's do that one. And then they just made Doc Hollywood both with Cars.
Yeah, that's pretty much that. Thank you for listening to our episode.
It's literally, like, do you feel the same way? Like, because I really think the world is well developed. And the look of it is so specific, like, even down to, like, small details. That they clearly, and I know they had been planning to make a movie about cars since the mid-90s, and only, like, got to it in 2006. But they didn't have a plot at that point. So I think they spent so much time, it really feels to me anyway, that they spent so much time developing what the world would be, that they forgot to write a plot.
Right.
Is that how it felt to you?
For me, the Cars universe, which there's an expanded universe to Cars because there's planes as well, it's very confusing.
Let's be real, there's an expanded universe for Cars because this came out the year that Disney officially bought Pixar, and Disney just wants to do sequels these days.
Yes, true. I just realised it's in both of the articles on Wikipedia.
It's in the Cars article as well?
It's in the Cars article as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think we were talking about this when we were watching Cars. It's confusing because the planes, everything is in some sort of, like, biomechanical creature.
Yeah.
Because they're not like robots.
No.
Because WALL-E, he's a robot.
Yeah.
Which is also in the Pixar universe.
He was built by humans.
Yeah.
This is a whole separately developed universe. I mean, I know there is a Pixar theory that it's all connected and this is what we all evolve into. Instead of evolving into crabs, we're going to evolve into sentient cars.
No, so in the running fan theory of the Pixar, everything is connected, everything is one universe, and you're just different parts of the timeline. This is when humanity's abandoned Earth, and this is a reason why they had to, is because no one could breathe the air because it's been taken over by the cars.
Right, okay. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
But looking at it on the surface, not trying to link into a connected universe theory, it very much is like a separate world where instead of, you know,
I don't know. Where you going?
Fauna. I was gonna say mammalian life, but it's like all life that developed on Earth
Is
was
it Earth?
cars.
Was it Earth? Was it
Yes,
Earth?
it's
all
the United
along?
States of America.
Which makes no sense. There is so much that doesn't
Was
make
there a
any
Cars
sense.
George Washington?
That doesn't make any... Was there a George...
Cars Lincoln?
Joseph Smith?
Did they have a Cars Civil War?
Yeah. Like, because the forklift people...
There's a Cars Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
So we can and they have the same thing with Route 66 and all these smaller, interstate roads being replaced by like the interstate.
Yeah.
Like that's happened. So it's paralleling our universe.
So it's an alternate timeline where instead of mammals taking over when the dinosaurs were killed by the asteroid, it was
I don't know.
Biomechanical
Here's the
car
thing.
creatures.
Here's the thing. Why are you assuming the dinosaurs weren't also vehicles?
Because the bugs are bugs.
The bugs are like Volkswagen Beetles.
Yeah. Very confusing. So, planes are a different species.
But so are all the other vehicles, because there's vehicles that aren't like car.
Yeah. There's forklifts.
Yeah. There's a combine harvester, is that what he is?
Yeah, but he's like a bull.
Yeah.
And the tractors are cows.
Yeah.
So do they drink tractor milk? What is the point of tractors? They eat... So, here's my question. Does the fuel they use come from corn?
Maybe. I mean, it's America.
So if
the fuels that real Americans use come from corn. That's how they fuel their bodies, with corn syrup.
Yeah. So that means that they're not drilling for oil, because how else would they have existed before they invented fire and technology and electricity?
And also that that oil is would be in this universe, I guess, coming from decayed cars?
Yeah.
From the dinosaur car era?
Because the fire truck's growing plants and flowers, but they're robotic in nature.
Oh, sorry, in my head was like, do we need to go back as far as the dinosaurs to discuss Doc Hollywood as well?
It's just...
So plastic surgery exists because...
There's so many questions. There are so many questions in the Cars and Planes and whatever else universe. Because, yes, they have a president. They have a president in the Cars universe.
They have a governor of California who is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the car.
But he's a Hummer.
Yeah. Michael Schumacher is a Ferrari.
Yeah, it makes sense. So they have states, which means they have the United States.
Yes.
Which means they have a state, because one of the characters is a sheriff. So therefore, he's elected by the state as a law enforcement.
But also that implies that...
They pay taxes.
Well, no, that too, but I was going to say that landmass was colonized by cars coming over on maybe sentient boats.
Yeah.
From Europe.
So is there some sort of giant car factory in Africa?
Yeah, how are they created?
Was never. I don't think it's never explained in Cars. I have not seen Cars 2. I have not seen Planes.
I haven't seen or Cars 3. I haven't seen any of the sequels. I know there's secret agents.
Yeah.
In one of the sequels.
So
Michael Caine is in one of them, I think.
The duo between the hippie car, which is a Volkswagen combi van.
Yeah.
And the military surplus.
Yeah.
Means that there's a need for a military, which means that there has been wars.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about the 70s and why the 70s and that era of the 70s happened, was because of rebelling from the way America was previously to that.
Mm-hmm.
Means that there was a cultural revolution in the Cars universe.
Yeah.
After America lost the war in Vietnam?
I guess so. The car war.
The car war in Vietnam.
The car Vietnam War.
Which is so many... There are so many questions.
I was trying to think because they keep using puns. I was going to try and make a Viet Cong... I was like, Viet Congby? I don't know. I don't know why.
So a bunch of
I don't
young
know that
cars
I
got
don't.
drafted and had to fight tuk-tuks in the
I don't
in the
know that I
jungle of
want to
Vietnam.
know all of this about the Cars universe.
It implies there'd be there's so much to unpack. But they're not they're not robots because he's got a tongue. They've got free will. Anyway, Doc Hollywood is set in reality. Close to it is enough as it is. It's about a young man who wants to.
He's a surgeon and he wants to go to Hollywood to be a plastic surgeon.
And he ends up crashing through a fence.
Just like Lightning McQueen in Cars when he crashes through the fence in Radiator Springs after accidentally coming off the interstate going to California.
Yep.
I can't remember what interstate he's supposed to be on. So he's somewhere in like Arizona, but in Doc Hollywood he comes off the I-95 in South Carolina, I believe.
Yep. They end up in small towns where they end up owing the community service and then falling in love with the town and the occupants of the town and the lifestyle of the town. And after accomplishing their goal for Michael J. Fox, he ends up being a plastic surgeon temporarily in California, based on the promise. Not a promise. It was the phone call he gets given.
Yeah, it was a phone. So he ends up in California with the job that he wanted because of a phone call that the old curmudgeonly doctor named Doc Hodge makes, and in Cars, Lightning McQueen ends up in his dream job in California because of the phone call the old curmudgeonly doctor named Doc Hudson makes.
Yeah, but he ends up coming back as his like pit crew leader and giving him advice because he's like a racing legend.
Yeah.
And then they end up moving back to the small town.
Whereas in Doc Hollywood, it's only Hank and Nancy who come to California, and they bring his car with them.
Yeah, which is red. His
red car. I wonder what that might have inspired.
Yeah.
And then, they end up going back to the town and also to Lou/Sally, the law student / lawyer from the small town who's in love with the small town.
Oh my god, she is. Dear God, they just copied the script freaking page by page.
I mean, when it starts, because I didn't even remember that, because he does kind of destroy the whole road in Cars, but I didn't even remember that him arriving in Radiator Springs started with him, A, getting off the interstate by accident, but then B, well, I remembered that it was him getting off the interstate by accident, which happens in both movies, but then B, the first thing he does is crash into a fence.
Yeah.
And destroy a fence that he has to, rebuild. But then in Cars, he takes it a step further and also destroys the road that he has to repave. But the fact that both of them started with that, and then he goes to trial in the small town, and then he meets the love interest who he's immediately makes presumptions about and is really creepy towards, and she humors him, and then turns out she's someone he didn't expect that she was in Doc Hollywood. She's his ambulance driver in the hospital he's working in.
Yeah.
In Cars, she's the prosecuting lawyer who's prosecuting him. In both cases, he assumed that she had shown up to see him and was trying to be suave and absolutely failing at it. And then she was like, okay, and then was like, all right, now time to get to work. So literally all of that is the same. And then again, there's the old curmudgeonly doctor named Doc, something beginning with H, Hodge/Hudson, who he doesn't get along with and hates him, and also he doesn't listen to him and doesn't trust that he knows what he's doing, which in Cars leads to him driving off a cliff into a cactus pit. In Doc Hollywood leads to him almost sending a child for surgery when they just had diarrhea.
Yeah.
And then, gradually realizing that old curmudgeonly Doc character actually is really skilled in their field and in the main character's own field, and that he can look up to him and learn from him.
It's strange to me because usually when we do one of these episodes, one of these movies is worse than the other by far, and usually for a good reason. Or one of these movies is completely wacky. Being that both these movies are so similar, it's hard. It's like, what are we doing here? They're the same movie.
Yeah, this is a fun episode, but these are literally the same movie.
There's the same amount of gratuitous nudity.
Could have been a remake.
Yeah, there's the same amount of gratuitous nudity. There's the same weird sort of like, you know, big city like macho BS that doesn't work.
Also, like that he's a young guy who like is not actually from big city but wants to be big city and is very overconfident and cocky, and that comes across, and then is like humbled by the townsfolk.
Yeah.
I think Hank and Mater are supposed to be kind of the same character, except obviously Mater is much more friendly to Lightning than Hank is to Ben. Is that his name?
I don't know.
I literally
Doc
forgot his name.
Hollywood?
Doc Hollywood. I think his name is Ben. Initially, and then but also like you're introduced to Hank as Hank basically acting that he's Lou's boyfriend when he's not, and you're introduced to Mater by Mater saying that
the exact same
that
thing.
Sally is his fiancée.
Yeah.
When she's not.
What I find interesting going through, because the cast is pretty like we'll go over that because there's a hugely interesting cast in both these movies. So Michael J. Fox, you've got Woody Harrelson. It's a pretty decent cast. There's somebody else that's super famous in this that I cannot remember.
The old man from Home Alone, isn't it?
The old man from Home Alone is in it.
Yeah. Was that who you were talking about? Probably not.
No. Bridget Fonda?
Was it Bridget Fonda?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty well known. David Ogden Stiers obviously is in it.
Yeah.
As the mayor.
And then you go to Cars, and I don't know why the voice cast is like...
The voice cast is insane for Cars.
Yeah.
It's like genuine. It's Paul Newman's last role.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Obviously you've got Owen Wilson. I will say so much of the trivia for every Pixar movie I feel like is all these other actors are considered for these roles, and the only one that I want to mention at all in this episode is that one of the people who was considered for the role of Lightning McQueen was Michael J. Fox, which is so funny to me because that like, can you imagine he goes back and he reads the script and he's like, have I already done this movie? But yeah, you got
after the
Bonnie Hunt.
This just in for Hollywood Insider. Michael J. Fox is currently taking Pixar to court for ripping off his movie from 1991.
You've got Michael Keaton as the rival car, Chick Hicks. You've got like Bonnie Hunt, Paul Newman, Cheech Marine, Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
George Carlin.
Yeah. It's bananas. It's absolutely bananas.
There's lots of like small roles that are people playing themselves, like Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Jay
Leno.
Yeah, Jay Leno. I don't think Arnie plays himself. I think that's someone doing an Arnie impression.
Which wouldn't be too hard.
Yeah. But there are other... Oh, Richard Kind is in it, briefly. Because I was like, that's so distinctly Richard Kind's voice, and it's not even a remotely important character.
Yeah, they're the lost couple, right? Yeah. It's so weird. It's
Michael Schumacher plays himself.
Yeah, it's such a weird cast list for a, like... Because at what point this was sort of like the...
Also, in the end credits, there's the like bit that's just in there for one joke about John Ratzenberger being in every Pixar movie, where they're watching like in-universe versions of all the Pixar movies. But like, they actually have the real actors from those movies reprising their roles for it, which is insane.
Because like, if you look at the Pixar the timeline, I was reading Toy Story because it's the first one. So we've covered Bug's Life, we've covered Toy Story.
Nope.
Well, have we not covered Toy Story?
What are you comparing it with?
I don't know. I think we just talk about it so much that my brain has just calculated that we've already done an episode on it.
No. I don't think we've got a Toy Story.
We've done Monsters, Inc.
We've done Monsters, Inc.
Finding Nemo.
We have not done yet.
Not yet done yet.
That is on the list though.
Yeah. So this is 2006. So that is like pre-Ratatouille, pre-Wall-E, pre-Up, pre-Brave, Inside Out. Like this was like not even the midpoint because this is 20 years ago.
Yeah, but this is when this got delayed. So the movie was supposed to be released in November of 2005, I think, and then it got released in the summer the following year, 2006. Allegedly, because they wanted to get all their films going forward to be on a summer release schedule in the Northern Hemisphere so that the DVD sales could be out in time for
Winter.
Christmas.
Yeah.
But the speculation is that they were holding on to it as like their sealed the deal with Disney buying Pixar.
Yeah, because there's huge gaps in the beginning of their like career of making these.
Yeah, because they were just making them themselves.
Yeah.
And they got like co-produced by Disney, but they weren't owned by Disney at that point.
So from 2006 until 2029,
yeah,
there was only been 1 year when they didn't produce a Pixar film, and that was 2014.
Right.
This is not the first Pixar movie we've compared against a Michael J. Fox movie.
What was the other one?
Turning Red.
Oh, yeah.
So
I forgot that was Pixar.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, it's bananas to me, like how many Pixar movies are just like, let's take really good pre-established story. Like, don't get me wrong, there is so much movie in the beginning sequence of Up that it could have been its own movie.
Yeah.
There is so much love and creativity that goes into these. For me, I feel like Disney need to get their claws out of Pixar and let them do stuff that's not aimed at printing Disney money.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing you can't franchise the hell out of when it comes to these kinds of properties they're making. Apparently there's a Toy Story 5 coming this year.
That makes me sad. Toy Story 4 was unnecessary. Toy Story 1, 2, 3, like Toy Story was great, and then Toy Story 2 was incredible, and then it was like, why are they making a 3? And it was like absolutely fantastic, perfect ending to that trilogy. And then they're like, but Disney wants us to make more money and this is a movie about toys, and therefore they can make more merchandise out of it. So now we gotta do a merchandise thing.
Incredibles 3.
That
makes sense.
Does it have Brad Bird tied to it?
I have no idea. It's black on here, so
I'll only trust an Incredibles film if it's got Brad Bird tied to it. Brad Bird is a genius.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to do a Coco 2, which is another...
Coco 2?
Yeah.
What? That makes no sense.
Yeah. It's another movie we've covered.
Yeah.
Anyway. Doc Hollywood is a really good movie.
Doc Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really highlights that small town charm that used to exist. Maybe not so much anymore, but definitely it existed in the 90s.
I think it still exists. We just don't see it.
I don't know. I feel like things are far too polarized these days.
And also, like, internet is everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other thing.
It's not the same. And I feel like because of that, because the gaps in income are getting so extreme, there are no longer, well, especially in New Zealand, there are no other like small town quiet places that people just move to, because everything, like I remember our family home was just like us and the next door neighbour. And then when I went back there, they'd like built across the road as well, and like you just sort of like, that's crazy. There was an empty field for like 30 years. The fact that people subdivide properties these days because
but if you look at like where my sibling lives, like they have neighbours, but you drive to them more than you'd walk to them, you know.
We were looking at. I was looking at it the other day out of curiosity of like, what were we watching? Was it Slow Horses? We were watching something, and it was like small town, rural, and like with the the shopping center in the center being like 2 blocks of just like houses on each side, and then everybody else lived in like a manor out in the thing. And I was like going through, looking at like the equivalent of irishhomes.co.nz, looking at like buying houses and
You're on like daft.ie or something.
yeah, looking at houses in south of Dublin and going, oh yeah, that'd be nice. Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Not in the south of Dublin.
No, south of Dublin.
Yeah, the sunny southeast.
Yeah, the place where it's warm.
Is it ever warm?
Who knows?
Well, they are getting warmer and warmer summers, I think.
Yeah, and there's the other way as well, because then you get more extremes the back again. So it all works out in the end. We'll look at what's going on right now. Well, not right now, because we're recording this in the past for you, and you're listening to it in our future.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, the small town thing's sort of very, very iconic. Probably not so much the United States, because the United States is massive, like land mass wise.
I think if you look at somewhere like Australia as well.
Yeah.
Massive land mass wise. But then if you look at like mainland Europe, even like different countries, there are still small towns.
Yeah.
Even places that we've been that are not like small towns have more of a feel of that than a lot of places here.
You don't tend to get the infrastructure development that the States did, though.
Right, okay.
Because Europe definitely has a functional, well-utilised rail network, where the United States built their country on rail, and then as soon as they were done with it, succumbed to the massive beast that was the automotive industry,
right,
which made a lot of people a lot of money, and therefore they were like, well, people need to travel in between places with their car, because why else would we sell them one? Let's build cities around the fact you need cars.
Yeah.
Let's build everything about the fact that, that joke of what's perfectly normal in the States is like insane in Europe.
Yeah.
And New Zealand as well, of like driving multiple hours to a restaurant is insane for anybody in New Zealand, probably insane for Ireland.
Yeah.
But like perfectly normal if you're in Texas.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, in Ireland, if you drive more than 4 hours in any direction, you're in the sea.
Yeah. Especially if you're in Dublin and you go east.
Yeah.
You'd be in England or Wales.
Yeah, you get on the ferry. If you get on the ferry and be over like halfway through the UK in 4 hours.
How long? There's the ferry to France, right?
Yeah, it's ferry to France.
Yeah, so you could probably end up in, well, maybe not 4 hours. It's not that far.
No, yeah, it's not.
Because if you can fly to Australia and it's like double the distance between like the closest 2 points in New Zealand and Australia, like closest flight.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-hour flight.
2 hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah, so 4 hours.
From Rosslare to Cherbourg
in
France. Shit, that's probably not how that's pronounced.
Oh well, it's only French.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is like that.
No,
whole...
wait, that is incorrect.
Oh.
That is what came up in the like blurb, and then I clicked into it and it was actually telling me that Rosslare is 2 hours and 15 minutes away from Dublin.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, yes, cool, that's not what I asked for actually.
Well done, thank you.
And much longer. It's what's coming up here because they're overnight sailings.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 17 hours.
17 hours?
That feels like, are they going really slow? Hang on.
That doesn't seem right.
17 hours is so long. It's just right there.
I know you have to like go around the UK, but still.
Go around the UK.
Well, you can't go through it
via
true. Ferry.
Yeah.
There's not a giant canal dug through the UK. Sorry, we have
That's
to demo
insane.
your house. Why? We're putting a canal through so people in Ireland can have a straight shot to France.
Yeah, it looked like 16 hours is the kind of... But that seems like way too much. I don't know. I've been on ferries to France, but I was a child. It long enough to watch Spider-Man 2. I'll tell you that much.
That's shorter than...
It's
You
definitely...
remember sleeping, having multiple meals?
It's definitely long enough that they had a room with adult cinema and you could watch a Spider-Man movie on there.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's...
That's strange.
Yeah, they all seem to say about 16, 17 hours.
It's probably past COVID, post-COVID.
It might be just to do with the speed that they're allowed to go in those waters or whatever.
Yeah, it was the same with the ferry between the North and the South Island here in New Zealand. As we had a Lynx for a while, which was one of those ones that gets so fast it like pops out of the water. I can't remember what the shape. I'm not a ship guy. It's not my special interest. Neither is trains. And they had to cut it down because people that lived along the route complained because their like docks and boats and stuff were getting wrecked by the thing that was going way too fast.
Right.
When I was a kid, there were because there's only one port now, so it's out on the industrial side of the bay. So there's one that's by the train station and one further down from the train station. There's the two main ports, but there was also one up in Porirua, which was where the Lynx went from.
Okay.
And it was like half the time because it was like twice the speed.
Yeah.
It was very, very quick. Never went on it.
Okay.
Always planned it at some point, in the future, but then they cancelled it before I could. But yeah, it was like wrecking people's like homes. You'd be like, gotta bring my dinghy in, or otherwise it's gonna end up on my front porch because the waves hit it so heavily that it like got pushed out. There was like news footage of like guys in boats while the Lynx went past getting like tipped out of them. And because they had to reduce the speed, the whole business concept failed because obviously it wasn't as fast as it was like originally. But anyway, there's nothing to do with either of these movies.
Yeah, there's no boats in these.
Is there not no...
Don't talk about boats in the Cars universe.
Why?
Because I don't want to get into that again. We've already done this. They had to have come over in boats to colonize America. Are there Native American cars?
That's a good question.
Okay, let's not... I just don't. I just can't do it. I just can't get into the Cars universe. We've talked so much about the Cars universe at the beginning of this episode. And we'll never get to the bottom of that rabbit hole.
Why not?
Because
we can solve it.
Because it's insane. Because it's absolutely insane. The more you think about it, the more ridiculous it becomes.
Yeah, that's what was getting me while we were watching the movie. Is
the Statue of Liberty a giant car?
That's a good question.
Is she like a crane or something? Because she built America? Is she real? Is it a statue or is it like a real dilapidated one? No, because they have a statue to the dead car.
Do they?
They have a statue to the dead... Hang on, hold on. They have a statue to a dead car in that... in Radiator Springs. How'd the car die? What is the car dying like? Did they bury him?
Or is he just there?
You don't see him anywhere. That's not him. That's definitely stone. Or like... Well, maybe it's not stone. But it's not like a rusted car.
Maybe they calcify. When their car soul leaves them, they turn to stone.
What? You think that's what happens? No, because then there would be so many more dead cars around. It would be like that. There's a Junji Ito thing that's like that. Where like whenever someone dies, they turn into like a stone pillar or whatever.
Pillar of salt?
No, they turn into like a stone pillar. And then this guy who doesn't know it hits someone on the road. And then he doesn't want to tell anyone about it, so he puts the person in his boot, but he doesn't know that dead people turn into this pillar of stone. So what he doesn't realize is that because she didn't turn into this pillar of stone, she's actually still alive. And then when he finds out about that, he like looks out at his car and there's the pillar of stone growing out of the boot of his car, and his secret is revealed because he's got his body in his car.
What part of the trailer is Mac? Mac Truck,
Yeah.
the person responsible for, being the only, friend before he arrives in Radiator Springs to Lightning McQueen?
Yeah.
And
his friend Harv says...
Yeah, who's just an agent.
Claims he's his best friend, because he asked Lightning McQueen about hanging out with his friends or whatever, and then he's like, or like friends that he gets to give free tickets to, and then he's like, oh, I get it, you got so many, you can't even think, and he's like, he doesn't actually have a single friend, because Mac's not his friend, Mac is his employee who he is a shit to.
Yeah.
He's terrible to Mac.
But, what part of the trailer?
What do you mean, what part of the trailer?
So he is transported inside the trailer.
Yeah, but Mac disconnects himself from the trailer.
Yeah.
So the trailer is just a box. That's not sentient.
The box isn't sentient.
Yeah.
But where'd the trailer come from?
The car's made it.
How are the cars...
The car's built...
yeah, I know, the stadium.
Fuel tanks and the stadiums and the everything. The cars built those. The cars built them. There's different vehicles that are made for different things. There's probably cranes and stuff. There's there will be factory worker car people.
Building car factories.
I wonder, I do want to know. So have you seen the movie Robots?
Is that Robin Williams?
Robin Williams and Ewan McGregor.
I've seen clips
and Amanda
of it,
Bynes.
but I don't think I've seen it.
Well, there's a really funny joke in that, but it also establishes how their universe works, where the dad, it's about it's the beginning of the main, it's the beginning of the main character's story. So it's the story of his when he's born, and it's the dad is rushing home from work. And then he comes in and the mum's like, oh, you missed the delivery. And he's like, oh no. And then she's like, but don't worry, making the baby's the fun part. And she has all the parts. So their baby has arrived in parts in the mail, and then they have to build it. They have to make the baby together. It's a funny joke.
That is a funny joke for a kids
for a kids movie. But it also establishes in canon that they're sent the parts to build their own child, who then becomes a sentient robot, I guess. But then, is that how it works in cars? Or do they pop out of somewhere in a car as a baby car? Do they have parents?
Yeah.
They have romantic relationships.
It's true.
But we don't see a car who has a parent or child, right?
Yeah.
Unless the king, or one of the older cars with the king, is his dad, or no? I don't know.
So the one that's got the bull horns on the front of it is the owner of the company.
Right.
The other blue one is its partner.
Yes.
There are clearly twins.
There are twins.
And
they get body modifications to look like Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Creepy. Plastic surgery.
I love how you were like, I'm not going to get into the Cars universe.
Yeah, sorry.
And then you just went down the same rabbit hole.
Let's get out of here. Let's escape the Cars universe.
Were you making a reversing noise?
No. I was flatlining. Okay, I've reawoken in the real world. Doc Hollywood.
Where plastic surgery exists.
Yeah, plastic surgery.
Where women become lawyers and they go to the big city. And then they end up having kids, and then that man leaves them, and then they move back.
And becomes a professional dancer?
Yeah. And then they move back home.
Yeah, but she said she always planned to go back home.
Yeah.
She loves that town, and she wanted to get her degree and come back and use it to better the town. Just like Sally wants to better Radiator Springs, even though she's actually not from there.
Yeah.
She is from big city and has moved there. She's from California and has moved there. In Doc Hollywood, he's assuming she's a small town girl who's always lived here, but she is from there, but she went and did her studies in New York City and came back.
The question becomes, is your car race based on the same manufacturer locations on Earth? because she's like a Porsche, right?
Yeah.
And Michael Schumacher, who plays himself, is a Ferrari.
And they specified that the Ferraris only operate on the European circuit.
Which means that where are Porsches from?
Porsche sounds German. I don't know though.
I can't remember where they're from.
I don't know anything about cars.
Someone out probably listening to me right now is yelling. Because I have no idea where Porsches are manufactured. They're probably manufactured in the same place that all cars are manufactured, which is basically like Eastern Europe and South America.
Stuttgart, Germany.
Okay.
So I was right that I was like, it sounds German. That's because it was founded in 1931 by Ferdinand Porsche, who is German. Oh, Porsche. So it would actually be pronounced Porsche.
Yeah,
because
Porsche.
It's got which she does call her. But that is a joke in itself, because Porsche, the name, comes from, or I don't know if it comes from, or was just used by Shakespeare for a female lawyer. So she probably is a Porsche because of the connection to Portia, the female lawyer.
She also has a tramp stamp.
Yeah, why? They didn't.
Where did the mud come from, Lisa? That's the question.
No, don't ask about the mud. We're not discussing the mud. We're not discussing the mud.
Oh dear.
Also,
Cars is wild.
In both these movies, the female love interest who like has no interest in the beginning, but then kind of humors him, and then grows to like him and gets him to like her and like the town, like genuinely instead of just from like a.
Because when both Lightning and Benstein arrive in the small town, they're jerks.
Yeah.
And
but it's that overconfident. They think they're making the big time, so they're gonna be terrible to people.
It makes sense for both their characters because they're in a very highly competitive market. One racing, which apparently is the only form of entertainment in this universe, because when they come to the Piston Cup final, when it is between King, what is the hell is the...
Chick Hicks.
Chick Hicks and Lightning, the entire rest of the economy and world shuts down.
Yeah, but that's because this is like a particularly unusual one where it was the first ever three-way tie. It's not the only form of entertainment because there is canonically music in this movie.
That's true.
But what I was going to say was, weirdly in both movies... I'd say weirdly, it's not weird because they literally ripped off this movie. But in both movies, the female love interest, right before the main character ends up actually going to where he was going in California, implies, or it's implied in Cars, but like basically outwardly stated in Doc Hollywood, that even though she knows he's going to be going, she wants to have sex with him.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't happen in Doc Hollywood because he kind of realizes he actually wants more than that, and then it gets complicated and he leaves. And in Cars, because Mac and the paparazzi show up, and they get interrupted, and then he goes to California, and other people from the town follow him and connect with him there, and she stays behind, and then he goes back for her and for the town. Why is it the same movie?
It's literally the same movie.
It's genuinely, it really... I mean, I'm coming full circle back to what I said at the beginning of the podcast, which is that they clearly knew exactly what they wanted Cars to look like. They developed this insane world that makes no sense. And then they were just like, oh, copy-paste a script in here.
Yeah.
And, Control F, change... Hodge to Hudson.
Yeah, replace all.
Change Ben Stone to Lightning McQueen. Change plastic surgery to racing.
Yeah.
Change Lou to Sally. I can't even. I'm mixing them up now.
Yeah. Replace Hill guy with Pig with Mater.
No, I don't think Mater's supposed to be as a pig. I think Mater is supposed to be Hank.
Yeah.
Who's Woody Harrelson's character.
You know one of my favourite moments in all of Doc Hollywood?
Yeah.
Is the family that arrive who can't read.
Yeah.
And that subplot of the movie with the unhinged letters they keep getting.
Yeah.
Is so funny.
There's a fan theory that the taxi driver, when he finally gets to California, because he doesn't have his car still, that the taxi driver is the Pakistani man that's mentioned in all the letters.
Gosh.
And I love that fan theory because it's all about Ellen, who's their cousin. I don't know what relative. She's a relative of theirs named Ellen, who's moved to the city, and she's tangled up with a Pakistani man.
Yeah.
And it keeps, and then it's to the point that when they're doing house calls, he says to Lou "Oh, this is a really sensitive one. I'll go in and do this," and then he just goes in and he's reading the letter and he comes out and she's like, "How's Ellen getting along with the Pakistani man?" Because the whole town knows about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so there's a fan theory that the cab driver in LA is the Pakistani man. It's
such a sweet, all the stories are very sweet. The town's very sweet. The people are very nice. It's so funny that you get to know the main character, and because of the way the story's written, you're like, oh, he's the main guy.
Yeah.
And then you end up being like, no, he's a complete jerk.
Yeah.
But you don't see it from his point of view as time goes on. You're like, oh, no, he is actually a jerk. And, Lightning McQueen is, young and arrogant, but he is very talented.
So is Ben Stone, young and arrogant and talented.
And it's just so funny watching the comparison between a medical doctor and a sentient car.
But also in both, it comes from the same place of insecurity.
Yeah.
That,
don't get me wrong, the character is well written.
Oh, yeah, but
it's just hilarious to see, a really well written doctor
turned into a
race car.
Yeah, but it's this concept that, he acts so arrogant because he wants to be that big city guy, and this, this well-known star or whatever, and the people from the town see him and think, or they initially buy into that image that he's created for himself, but then it's coming from this place of, Ben being from a small town and always wanting to get out of it, and then, not wanting to return, that he never went back home to his hometown, he never went back home to his family, because he wants to make it big, and he thinks that making something of himself means getting away from small town life. And in Cars, it's that, he knows that he is the rookie, as he describes it, he's the underdog, and this, and it would be such a huge thing for him to actually get through this and win and beat these guys who are who've been doing this their whole lives or whatever.
Yeah.
Who are these big well-known names, that he's just this little guy who's come out of nowhere, and he wants to instantly become a star, essentially. And he has he could do it.
Yeah. It's the moral point of what he learns from being in the small town that actually makes him who he is.
Yeah.
So in the conclusion of Doc Hollywood, he comes back, he basically apologizes for leaving, and then happily ever after. For some reason, the end of Cars is even more emotionally heart-grabbing, where is it Chip Hicks?
Chick Hicks.
Hicks
is Michael Keaton's character, the evil
green car with the mustache.
Green car with the mustache, yeah.
Basically crashes into everybody, wins the race. Lightning McQueen can win the race, but he turns around and pushes King over the line, so King, with his legacy, can finish the last race.
Yeah, and it's very much because of what he saw in Doc and what he learned from Doc when he actually took the time to talk to him and get to know him, and he realized because then even when he found out that Doc had won the 3 piston cups, he was like, oh my god, you're a legend.
Yeah.
And then Doc was like, no, I crashed out, and then, when I got myself back on my feet and ready to go out again, everyone had forgotten about me.
And that is, like, for a I was going to say a man, for a car who's got the legacy of being, like, the champion for so long, that is why everyone's just like, oh, you're better, even regardless of, like, the guy who won, because you sacrificed your victory.
Yeah, and it's very much, like, what Doc instills in him is this knowledge that, like, winning isn't everything. Yeah. And as he says to him, they're just some empty cups. Like, it didn't bring him happiness, it didn't bring him fame and fortune, it didn't bring him a good life. He did that for himself by taking himself out of that space and going and making a life somewhere else. And also how easy you just get dropped.
Yeah.
If you're famous, if people like you for being famous and that's all they know and like you for, the second anything goes wrong, you have no one.
And you get a little bit in Doc Hollywood as well with when Ben is working in plastic surgery and it's just all about turnover and there's no actual care given to any of the patients.
Yeah.
And I think it's that point in the story where Ben realizes that he's been shown this different world mindset. He was so focused on becoming this surgeon, he didn't actually understand that it was all about metrics and not about patient care. And
even, like, the story he tells, it's really interesting the way Doc Hollywood actually circles back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the story he tells people at the beginning is so clearly some made-up bullshit.
Yeah.
But he wants to sound good. And then when he gets to the end, the guy repeats the same story to him, and he's like, oh, this is bullshit, and I don't want to do this. Which is that, definitely Ben himself doesn't believe it at the beginning. He's just saying it. And at the end, he would like to believe it, but the guy saying it to him is so not interested that he's just spouting out, like, the same thing that they say, which is that, they do all these cosmetic surgeries, these, like, voluntary cosmetic surgeries in Hollywood for literally to change people's looks for the one, so that they can get the money for the one person who needs it for, a cleft palate or facial reconstruction or something like that, which is genuinely how those practices work and should work.
Yeah.
But it's very clear when Ben says at the beginning that, like, he's just trying to get people to think he's cool.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he actually does want to help people and has seen what it's like to be in a town where, like, he was the guy that people relied on and he actually made a difference to an entire town full of people. Much like Lightning McQueen and Cars. And then he was working for this guy who was rattling that off as like, oh yeah, we do this for the blah, 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 blah. But it's literally just, as you said, giving no patient care, just going in here, do this in this room, go into the next patient, do this in this room, like totally disinterested in what he's doing.
I'm going to throw a real spanner into the works.
Yeah.
When we were watching Doc Hollywood, you mentioned a show that I really, really enjoyed watching.
Yeah, it was filmed in the same filming location as Doc Hollywood.
So it started in 1990,
and
it concluded in 1995.
Yeah.
And the show is called Northern Exposure,
mm-hmm.
about a young, hot-headed doctor who ends up having to go to a small town to be the doctor. And I was like, okay, there is so much comparison there. Like, not that we're going to watch, like, how many seasons is it? I can't
5 or 6 seasons. Can I tell you about another show that I've watched? And it's about a guy who's a doctor.
6.
And he ends up in a small town and they make him be the doctor of the small town. And it turns out actually he's an alien and it's called Resident Alien. Somewhere in between Cars and Doc Hollywood there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if Michael J. Fox shed his exterior and he was actually Lightning McQueen underneath.
And then Christopher Lloyd turned up and it was My Uncle the Martian. Is that what the movie's called?
My Favorite Martian?
My Favorite Martian, where he plays...
Uncle the Martian.
I can't remember. It's been like
I think
20 years.
They do pretend he's their uncle, I think, in that movie.
Yeah.
But it is called My Favorite Martian, I believe.
It's a really good story, like, beat. Like, if you're writing the story beat, if you're, like, young hothead, humbled, realizes he's changed but tries to deny it, goes and gets his goal, realizes he doesn't want it, misses that thing, goes back happily ever after.
Yeah. But Cars definitely... So here's the thing, is that that is a very, like, tried and true set of, like, story marks, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, oh, it's funny that Cars does those story marks and also is in a small town just like Dog Hollywood. And that was why I thought we should do this episode. But watching them back to back, I'm like, they literally just took the script of Dog Hollywood.
Yeah.
And, like, edited a few things. It's more than just they're hitting these story beats.
Yeah, but I'm saying the story beat in general of that is still...
It's a classic, and it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's there's good morals in there that people don't always, people don't always know what it is they actually want or need in life.
Yeah.
And B, what you end up enjoying in life isn't always what you set out to do or what you thought you were going to do.
Yeah.
And it's not about, like, settling in that. It's about, taking this journey and then going, actually, this back here was what made me happy.
Yeah. You know what would make me happy, folks?
What?
You can get us I was going to say Christmas gift. But
Get us a Christmas gift.
Give us
February.
A wedding gift. Because of the week of this episode being released, me and Lisa will be tying the knot and be officially married. So by the time you hear this, we will be on holiday and married to each other.
We will. Well, actually, maybe by the time you hear this, we'll be married to each other. This is coming out the day before we get married.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. So, if you want to give us a gift by sharing this with others, a Christmas gift on our wedding in March,
in February,
sorry.
You don't even know when we're getting married.
I remember. I'm getting confused by how many episodes we've recorded.
We are doing a little bit in advance so that we don't have to worry about it.
Go to our website. It's takes2.co.nz. It takes2.co.nz. Not it takes us.
It takes us too precious.
Go to our website. Find us on social media. Join our Discord. Join our mailing list. Share this episode. Share the page that Lisa dedicated hours to making it so anybody could pick up that page on our website and start where they want to start.
This one's probably going to go into the, like, fun episode section on there.
Of course.
I think this is it.
And that'll be a perfect gift because you do not understand how useful it is to have actual interaction and how helpful it is for us expanding out without paying ridiculous amounts of money to usually AI-powered bots these days, and which doesn't actually end up with anybody enjoying your show, just with better analytics.
Yeah, we don't care about the analytics as much as we care about people actually listening to our show.
And commenting, and rating us, and telling us how they feel. Giving us suggestions of what movies we should cover.
Mm-hmm. What other movies have Pixar ripped off?
Yeah. Other than the list I written out earlier. What's a movie where an old man loses his wife and then kidnaps a child in a flying house? I
have that one already planned, so don't you worry about it.
Yep, there we go.
It may or may not be a Clint Eastwood movie. We'll talk about it later.
$1 Million Baby?
No.
You got any trivia?
Yeah. I feel like mostly sad trivia.
Oh.
In a less sad trivia, I thought this was funny that Hank, played by Woody Harrelson, at one point says, "I don't trust a man who doesn't eat meat."
Yeah.
But in real life, Woody Harrelson is vegan.
Yeah.
So I think that's funny.
Was he vegan at the time of filming this? Like, has he been vegan?
I think he's been vegan a long time.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% sure when he went vegan.
Because it doesn't, like, what he's eating is nondescript as well.
Yeah. I do think he's someone who's been vegan for quite a long time. But I don't know. Over 30 years ago is what it says.
Right.
So maybe around the time of this. 1990. So that was an article from 2024. So since at least 1994, he's been vegan. So probably he was at the time of this as well.
Yeah.
The other thing was, so Michael J. Fox. This is mentioned in one of his autobiographies, and I have actually read 2 autobiographies by him. He talks about filming Doc Hollywood and waking up one morning during production with one of his fingers tapping.
Right.
And he had been on a night out with Woody Harrelson the night before drinking, so he thought he might have injured it or done something. And it turned out that was the first ever presentation of his Parkinson's disease.
Oh, wow.
Was while he was filming this film. So there are a bunch of scenes in this movie where his left hand is just like tucked in a pocket, and that's because he was starting to get his first tremors from Parkinson's. So that's kind of interesting to think about, that like that was when, because he hadn't got a diagnosis while he was still making this movie.
Right.
He just started, but that was when he started to experience the first ever symptoms. I'll go straight into the sad stuff from...
Because that wasn't said, yeah.
No, sorry. That's all the trivia I have on...
on
Doc Hollywood. But I'll start the Cars trivia with the sad trivia and then go into nicer trivia. Just lots of stuff about people dying. So this is Paul Newman's last feature film before he died of lung cancer, and turned out to be the highest grossing movie of his career. George Carlin died of heart failure 3 months before Paul Newman, and it was his highest grossing film of his career. And also it was the last Pixar film that Joe Ranft worked on, because he died in a car crash before the film was released, which is very sad.
Yeah.
And Joe Ranft and John Lasseter were the 2 who had been planning to make this film since before A Bug's Life came out, so mid to late 90s. It was supposed to be released in 99 originally, and then Toy Story 2 got greenlit and they wanted to do that instead, so it ended up getting pushed back and back. So he did get to make it, but didn't get to see it get released. So that's very sad.
That is sad.
John Lasseter has said that the inspiration for the story of the film came after he took a cross-country road trip with his wife and his sons in 2000. And when he returned to the studio after his vacation, he contacted a guy named Michael Wallace, who is a Route 66 historian. And then Michael Wallace led 11 Pixar animators in rented white Cadillacs on 2 different road trips across Route 66 to research for the film. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
There was trivia about a crazy amount of DVD sales within like the first 48 hours of the DVDs going out. It was the last ever Pixar film to be released on VHS, and the first ever Pixar film to be released on Blu-ray.
That's fun.
But also within 5 years of its release, it generated $8 billion in merchandise sales. So that is why Disney keeps making Cars sequels. Within 5 years, it made $8 billion with a B dollars in merchandise sales. That's not including the DVD, Blu-ray, VHS sales.
Sorry, I'm just stuck. What does Cars merch look like?
Toy cars? Cups with cars on them? Like all sorts of things.
Just everything.
You can get slippers that are Lightning McQueen's face on them.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
We tried both independently Googling that, by the way. That's not in Lisa's trivia.
How many times Ka-chow is said?
Yeah.
I saw someone said, I think that Lightning McQueen himself says it 8 times in the movie, which seemed low to me.
Yeah.
But also there's a bunch of other people say Ka-chow.
Yeah.
And also Chick Hicks started saying Ka-chicka.
Yeah.
Which is stupid and annoying. I thought Ka-chow was kind of annoying, but then Ka-chicka was way worse.
Yeah.
He does get a couple of wows in as well, because it is, you can't have an Owen Wilson film without him saying wow. Also, you can't talk about Owen Wilson saying wow without doing it in his voice.
Yeah.
You can't just say wow. That's not what he says. He says wow. Anyway, That's too many. The only other bit of trivia I had was, and this seals the deal for me, right?
Okay. I didn't know there was a deal that needed to be sealed.
No. Listen. You know how movies have, like, a code name that they'll use during production so people don't know what the movie is or what it's about?
Like how Star Wars was Blue Harvest.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to know what the code name for Cars was during production?
I do, of course.
Surgery.
It's a copy.
Now, you're making a movie about cars where your main character is a race car and there's not any mention of any kind of surgery at any point in the film. Why do you call your movie Surgery?
Because it's a rip-off.
Because it's ripping off a movie about a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's an adaptation without naming the adaptation.
It's a remake with cars. It's the same movie. I was trying to think about it. I don't think we've done another set of movies that were as similar. Except maybe Fern Gully and Avatar. But even that, people will say Avatar is a ripoff of the other movies that we included. Because we did a four movie episode.
Yeah, because it
with
was...
Avatar, Fern Gully, Pocahontas, and Dances with Wolves to be like, which one is it ripping off?
Yeah.
I think probably all of them.
Yeah.
Personally, I still feel like it is most like the plot of Fern Gully. But because it's stealing from all these, it's not quite as close. I genuinely don't think we've done one, except like the remake of Pinocchio where they just shot it scene for scene and made it worse.
Yeah. God, that was bad.
Yeah, I think this is the closest any two films have been.
If you can think of two closer films, please let us know. Thank you for listening to us ramble on about Doc Hollywood and Cars and the bizarre nature of the universe that is Cars. So many questions left unanswered, and I want to contact the... If you personally know the writers of the Cars...
Well, we can't get Joe Ranft.
Yeah.
The secrets died with him.
Yeah. We'll never know. The world will never know.
And I don't think I want to talk to John Lasseter.
Yeah, probably not.
Anyway. Thank you for listening to us.
We hope to catch you in the next episode.
Which we've already recorded.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this backwards slightly.
Backwards, forwards. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
As long as we get there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Goodbye.